Hi, I'm Pavel, Shukhman, CEO of Reliza. Today, I'll demonstrate ReARM, our SBOM, xBOM, and digital asset manager. This is a special demonstration for SecTor 2025. In this video, I'll start with showing a very quick presentation, just 6 slides, to explain why we built ReARM. And after that, I'll demo the product in action. I speak about SBOMs often and contribute to several community working groups in this space, most notably OWASP Transparency Exchange API. Although SBOMs have been around for more than 20 years, what strikes me in many of these conversations is that a significant number of people working in cybersecurity don't see real value in using SBOMs. After some research, I believe a large part of this issue comes down to tooling. If a tool runs a standard SCA scan and then produces an SBOM that simply repeats the same results, it's hard to see the added value of the SBOM. For many years, people working in the SBOM community have been saying, let's wait until we have better tooling. Well, ReARM is one of these better tools. First of all, ReARM recognizes that SBOM actually belongs to something, be it a Git commit, Docker container, software release as a whole, or a hardware product. Then ReARM contains a built-in engine to aggregate SBOMs based on your current perspective. Typically, this would be a component or a product release. Next, ReARM gives quick answers to key questions based on available data, such as, do I have specific dependency? And if so, what releases are affected? Finally, ReARM provides aggregate view into vulnerabilities, weaknesses, and policy violations, where it can combine SBOM-based data with that of other sources, particularly from SARIF, PDR, and BOV files. One important feature of ReARM is its rich internal data organization model, based on the product component split. This model is currently gaining traction in the industry. This slide shows a simplified view of the model using ReARM Community Edition as an example. On the left, we see the product. In this case, ReARM Community Edition. Product is usually something that is used in marketing, and that is how customers refer to the thing that we produce. Next, we have product releases. Here, I have 2 distinct product releases, ReARM CE 25.08.115 and ReARM CE 25.08.105. Essentially, product release is a specific packaged version of the product that customers actually receive. Then, we realize that product releases actually consist of certain components. This slide shows ReARM UI and ReARM Backend CE as such components. Note that ReARM itself actually consists of 8 components, but for simplicity, I'm only showing 2 on this slide. Further, we should recognize that product releases do not reference components directly. Instead, product releases consist of specific version of component releases, and this is how linking between products and components is actually established. So it's not direct link, but via their releases. Let me remind you again that this slide shows simplified view, and ReARM's actual data model has more elements, including release variants, source core entries, and deliverables. However, this model is essential for understanding the internal operations of ReARM, and it also becomes the core of software transparency today. ReARM integrates with many DevOps and DevSecOps tools. Particularly, ReARM integrates with any CI/CD tooling out there. Even if you don't see your CI/CD tool on this slide, ReARM can integrate with it using ReARM CLI. ReARM also integrates with any cybersecurity scanner that can output SARIF files. Finally, you can configure Slack or Microsoft Teams for notifications. My last slide shows links to ReARM website, GitHub repositories, public demo instance, and documentation. Now I'm going to show ReARM in action. Here I have a ReARM CE demo instance prepared specifically for SecTor. It showcases our demo product called ReARM. ReARM is actually part of ReARM, but we're using a fork specifically for demo. This product consists of 3 components, as you can see here. So this is backend component, front-end component, and ReARM Helm chart. For each component, if we click on front end, we can see that there are several releases already that I prepared when I was preparing for this demo. From here, we can also jump to GitHub repository that we're using. This is fork, again, of ReARM that's used for demo. And by the way, it's a vulnerable fork, so I introduced certain vulnerabilities on purpose to showcase during the demo. As you can see, this is a monorepo. So those are our 3 components. They all live in their own subdirectories, so backend, frontend, and Helm chart. We have so the glue between this and ReARM is the GitHub action in this case. So this is how it looks. We have jobs for backend, for frontend, and for Helm chart. We're using ReARM Docker action for frontend and backend, and we're using the Helm action for Helm chart. So what Docker action does, it checks. So first of all, it checks with ReARM what was the latest release, known release for this component. Then, based on the git commit hash of that release, it compares if there were any code changes. If there were code changes, then it proceeds with the build. If there are no code changes, then it doesn't do the build. So this is specific functionality for monorepos. Then during the build, it would build the actual Docker image. It would take SBOMs on the source code level and Docker image level. It will sign Docker image and SBOMs, and also it will do a CodeQL scan, produce a REAP file, upload this file to ReARM. Helm action is simpler. It essentially publishes Helm chart onto OCI registry, and it also makes SBOM for the Helm chart. I'm going to now trigger build for front-end component. For this, I have my special trigger build file. I just increment number here. So this triggers the build. So if we go into actions, we can see that the actions now started. It started for all 3 jobs, but you will notice soon that since there were no changes in Helm and backend, so those won't actually progress. The only job that will progress is front-end one. This will take a bit of time. So you see no changes on Helm chart. This is already completed. There is nothing to do. So backend takes a little bit longer, but it's actually done now. So the only one that's progressing is front end. So it takes about 3-4 minutes to complete this action. Instead of waiting here, I'll show you ReARM for previous releases of front end. So again, this is front end. If we refresh my front-end component here, you can see that there is now a new release in pending. So this is the one for which we started GitHub action just now. Now let's look at this release, it's actually interesting because you can see the vulnerability posture changed between this and previous release. So let's look what happened here. So we can open this release. So first of all, notice that it has a source code entry here, which is my commit. In this case, you can see that I bumped base image to Nginx 127.1. Again, note that I already mentioned before that everything here in this demo is vulnerable on purpose. So this is outdated image that contains vulnerabilities. It's still newer than the one I was using before, but it has certain known vulnerabilities. So this is my source code entry. If I hover or click here, I can see there is commit hash for it. It's on the main branch, and this is my repository URI on GitHub in this case. Another thing about this release is deliverable. So this is Docker image that was actually built as part of this release, my container. This is internal UID. It has Perl assigned to it. It's container, SHA-256 digest. I can actually copy everything with SHA-256 digest into my clipboard. That's useful. I can do Docker pull command on that, for example. Next thing to show here is, so those are our artifacts that were uploaded during the build from GitHub Actions. So you can see we have two bills of materials here. One belongs to source code entry, so it was a source code level scan. Another one belongs to deliverable, so it was a scan made on our Docker image. They show some findings based on Dependency-Track integration. Let's actually see how this integration works. So first we have this icon to open Dependency-Track project. So this is my connected Dependency-Track project. It was created automatically by ReARM. And it shows actually the same BOM but parsed and with vulnerabilities. Another thing you can do with this BOM is you can actually download it. So I can click download artifact. So for BOMs, we have two options. We can download either raw artifact, so it's exactly as what was uploaded, or we can download augmented artifact. Augmented artifact for BOMs, since ReARM contains certain details about component, it can provide more information about the actual component in the metadata. So in this case, let's say I download augmented artifact. So you can see my BOM is downloaded. I'll open it for you in a few moments. So this is my bill of materials. And view it as JSON. This is cyclone.dx.json. And then it's describing my Docker image, as you can see here. Next, as we saw, it has some vulnerabilities. So if I click here, and it shows details of those vulnerabilities. Notice that pearls are clickable. If I click on one of the pearls, it brings me back to Dependency-Track with details for this component. Here's vulnerability, and from Dependency-Track I can see a dependency graph, which is very useful in many cases to trace where this specific SBOM level component is present. Now my read file is also getting automatically parsed on ReARM. Here there are several findings that I introduced. So it's SAST level issues, and it shows me where exactly the issues are. Then notice that on release level, all these findings actually get aggregated from all these sources. And here we can see the whole list. On the release level, we can also download combined SBOM. So I have this button to export SBOM, and there are various settings in here. So I can choose SBOM or OBOM, where OBOM is operational bill of materials. I can choose to download everything or just SBOMs related to deliverables, to release as a whole, or to source code entries. Structure can be hierarchical or flat. Media type, second-DX JSON or human readable CSV XL. I use JSON for now. I use top level dependencies. I'll keep that. And I'll ignore my dev dependencies. So when I click export, in the background, it actually merges everything. And here's the I'll show you in a moment. Here's my combined SBOM for the whole release based on all the underlying SBOMs. One more thing to show here is, as you remember, because I was actually changing SBOM level dependencies, ReARM has the sections changed in SBOM components, and it shows me exact components that were changed in this release relative to previous one. I also have the compare tab in here. So my compare tab, I have versions to compare. So here I have version 41. I can compare it, for example, to version 38. So it shows me per version what changed in each of those releases. And I can also make an aggregated view where it gives me aggregated list of all the changes between these releases in this case. Now let's move to, actually let's see if this pending release is completed. Let me refresh this. So yeah, you see this release is now done, it's assembled. Let's move to product view. Remember my slide about product component split? So we have a product called ReARM, which has a single feature set. In this case, it's base feature set. So feature sets for products are similar to branches for components. It has several releases also. This one was the one that we just built. So let's open it and see how it looks. You see inside it lists components that went in. So it's backend, Helm chart, frontend with specific versions. Again, to remind you my slide about product component linking, product releases link to components through component releases. So those are the exact versions that make up this product release. I'll show you where this is configured. So in this case, we have auto integration enabled, and we have these components with these branches that make up new product releases. So once ReARM detects new assembled release for any of those components in these branches, you will automatically create a new version of the product release here. So here we have, again, our product release. Again, notice that for each component releases, it has a vulnerability posture. It's similar to what we saw before. And then it gets aggregated on the product release level as a whole here. Also, for product release, we can also export combined SBOM, similar to component release. In this case, it will aggregate all underlying SBOMs from all component releases. So let me do this. Takes a little bit longer because there is more data to process. So here's my aggregated SBOM. And again, I'll show it to you in a few moments. So this is my SBOM for the whole product. So this is something that can be shared with parties who actually need SBOM. So you can see in a few clicks you can get one SBOM for the whole product in this case. I also want to share compare tab on the product release. So here you can see it works similar to component releases, but in this case it shows changes per each component. And you can see the aggregated view. So in this case we're comparing product release 250832 to 250839, and it shows that there were no changes on backend, no changes on Helm chart, but there were these changes on the front end side, and it shows us all of those. Last thing I want to show here is we have notifications enabled. So in this case, this is my Slack. And you can see that for my release, I was getting notifications. So my release was scheduled first and assembled, and then new product release was created. So notifications can be configured to Slack or Microsoft Teams. This is ReARM, our SBOM, xBOM, and digital asset manager. Thank you for watching this video. If you watched it before SecTor 2025, I'll be happy to see you there. If you're watching it after, feel free to visit ReARM GitHub, and there's a way to connect with me on Discord, or you can connect via LinkedIn. Again, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video.